All right, St. John's. Hoo boy, a lot going on in this one. A lot of moving parts. So we've got what I'm calling, we've got the main frame here. You'll have your mid box, I'm calling it that one, and you have your back box. So the idea is to kind of get the frames all put together and then sort of put it together in different steps. We just want to make sure it goes together in the right order, otherwise you'll be trapped out. So don't want that to happen. Let's go take a look at parts. So first page, I have this broken up as just the main frame with the jigs. I've got the mid box with the jigs. I got the back box with its skins and everything, but that's everything you need to make the back box and the little sidecar nuggets there. These are the sidecar parts, everything you need for that. This is the power box, custom action, we'll go over that. So all the skins on one page here. This is an install template. Let's make sure that this gets to install. And look for these 1/4-inch plates, that's for mounting. There's all your 063 white for LEDs. Got 1/2-inch acrylic pushies. You got pushy backers. And you got some backed up acrylic white. All right, so like I say, we got the main frame. You got the mid box and the back box there with the sidecars. So right off the bat, we've got some different stuff here. I'm thinking what you're going to want to do is just put this frame together, the main frame. Start with that. Get the bottom going and get these mid supports going, and these are going to stop right here. And then go ahead and put the front on here and put the back on there, and get this piece in place here, and that goes right there. Then you're going to have these, basically you're going to bend these up as channel, and these channel are going to be where the white where they mount, where the LED trays mount. So you have the holes right there. So I'm thinking what you do is basically get this all set, and then you can slide these channels in, and you're going to go ahead and rivet those channels into the spots here, so they correspond right there. Go ahead and rivet those on. Then what you're going to do is then attach and rivet the top pieces here. You can see where those rivet right there. Once those are in place, then you can bring the top of the frame in and lock it in place. So you can bring this piece right here. You can just bring that right on in, and it should all hook up just right. So that what that leaves is a cavity here where you can bring in skinny action right here. You can bring in the LED trays, and that gives us our 5 inches from the face. So that's the main thing there, is kind of getting that all set up. Once you get that done, before you skin it, you're going to weld in your weld plates, or your mount plates, and weld those in. So you'll see where I got 3/16 Clecos. You can line those up. Go ahead and burn those nice. Make sure you get them burnt to the edge, or to the return here. Make sure you get a good burn on that. And make sure you burn all this obviously before the skin goes on. When you do the back piece and you go to put this together, look out for this notched bracket, the jig, and that's going to allow clearance for that bar, and go ahead and weld that bar to the bracket, and it'll help give us strength and transfer that load to the vertical wall. You can see on the big box it goes on this side. So look for these. This right here means to the front of the sign. Obviously you can see where that has that angled look. So anywhere you see that, that means it's going towards the front of the sign. That's what this is right here. This lets you know that's the indicator, the key. So you see that like that goes towards the front, this goes towards the front. So that just gives you your direction. So you just want to make sure you don't put this in backwards. It'd be some sad times there. So once you get these plates welded in, once you get this all taken care of, I'm thinking, because you're going to be joining this to the mid box, and you're going to be taking the back box and joining that, I'm thinking while this is on its own, you can lay it flat and skin it. And I think it'll be easier to work with this and skin it when it's not attached to this yet, because this is so much thicker and wider than this is. So that'll set up a challenge. So I think once you get these plates welded, everything's done, go ahead and skin this. Do not skin the big box yet, or the back, or the mid box here. And that'll be your access to bring these together. So you can see where, like this says back here, You have all of your rivet nut holes here, or rivet holes, and or whatever you want to use, screws. And you can go ahead and mate those together. Again, you're going to use Lords. Make sure it's Lords really well, and then you can choose whether to just fill those in with rivets or shoot screws, like kind of like you've been doing. So you can have access there. So go ahead and do that, and then you can go to the back box. So the back box is as follows: just a simple little frame, solid jigs on both sides, top and bottom. What's kind of tricky is we've got this kind of in-between thing where this is actually going to be where the power supply power box is actually hanging from this. So this is going to be a middle brace that lives right here. And then you can see where the green here goes up high. That gives you sort of a brace. I don't think I really have a side view of it, but oh yeah, here it is. So you can see where this lives right here, where it's folded up, and this goes towards the bottom, the actual mid part of it. And then you make sure that this goes towards the door, and the little wings here are going to be riv nuts on the power box, and the power box is just going to hang from that. So you can see where I have it right here. So it's got the U there, and then we'll use screws from the top. I think I got those set at 1/4 20. Yeah, so I have 1/4 20 there. So you can just use 1/4 20 screws, or you can use the thumb screws, either way. And the power supply box will hang from that, and then that will give us our switch access, and it'll sort of hang. So we got this similar box to what you make. Just make sure that before you rivet these together, you're catching these wings, and those wings are how this is going to hang. So, but this is anything you haven't made before here, just a different version of it. Door's going to face to the inside. So if you ever want to access this, they just need to, undo those 4 bolts and bring it out. What I'm thinking is, because we got the stainless steel studs and the concrete, let's go ahead and I brought one of these in. Let's make sure this pad just sits right here and screw it to there with a green screw, and do an anode right there, so that way it'll help with the corrosion if there's going to be any, and it can just sit right on that tray. So go ahead and get this guy put together, and go ahead and Lords on the skins and get this box complete. And then I would say go ahead and then bring it together and do the same thing. Go ahead and attach it, Lords it real good, and either screw it or rivet it. It's up to you. Then we have the sidecar little earmuffs, decorative basically. Those are asymmetrical. So you go ahead and bend these up, and then there's one side has a jig, just the one side, the front side. So you go ahead and that'll hold it together, and make sure it goes in this way, not, so that way this is kind of in the middle here. And then that will kind of hold it in shape, but go ahead and weld it, and then bring it, and you're going to attach it to the side of the skin there. And then these are your rivet holes that you can just go ahead and throw some Lords on, and then just rivet it on real quick, and you're done. Then go ahead and just put the skin on top of that, and that will close it up, and we're done. So that's after you put the side box on, and yes, this sits on top of the side box skin, so it's just stack, stack, stack all day. So that should be that. It should look good. So do that on both sides, and then that takes care of that. Then we should be in a position that everything's done, double check everything. Then once everything's all like kosher, then go ahead and Lords on both vertical, these faces. Go ahead and Lords those on real good, and then we're done. Then comes putting on the sidecar. So once you have all that taken care of, then go ahead and build the sidecar. So that's a whole nother thing. So I've got this light block. You're going to go ahead and Lords this in. So bend this up, 1, 2, 3, like we do. Go ahead and Lords in this light block, and that should help keep some shadow right here. So that way, hopefully, we don't get a little sliver of light right there. And because we're going to see the back side of this, and we always have less than great success when we have like a live seam right there, and we're trying to hide the, because we have this little light leak action. I went ahead and brought this box, the box that attaches to the face of the mainframe. I brought it all the way in here. So what you're going to do is dummy up a backside of the shoebox that comes off, and that is as so here. So that way, when you're looking at it from the side, that you can see it's going to look all finished. That way, prep can go ahead and you know, Bondo it up and make it all look like it's one big solid chunk of aluminum sticking out. So in order to do that, that's over here. So you're going to take these pieces and you're going to lords them accordingly to these sides here, and that's going to give you a little tray that you then can take this piece that you bend up and you can lords it to the back side here. So this obviously is the back side, so you'll bend this up, you'll bend that up, and then lords these to the inside of the bent up returns, and that'll give you a little shelf here. And then you take this bent piece and slide it in, and that bent this bent side will be kind of covered up there. And I don't know if I have any side view of that. Anyway, I think you'll be able to figure it out. Once you see it, you see it, you'll have it. If not, give me a holler. So once that's all done, that's that. And you'll just go ahead and, again, either lords it up and then either rivet or screw it on. You'll use these holes here to attach it to the skin, and then this is just shoebox, comes on and off. And then I have the reference kiss holes. Those are for, again, those are for the white LED trays. Those are not for, where they go? There, LED trays, there you are. Oops, yeah. So that's for these LED trays to go in. I'm thinking go ahead and make a solid run of LEDs all the way along. Forget about where the actual layout of this is going, because the idea is that these pastors might change every few years. So I'm thinking, instead of, you know, being caught out and not have enough LEDs, go ahead and do 2 strips down the whole way, and that way we'll be covered for the maximum size of whoever's going to be there next time. So don't just put LEDs where the letters are. We'll just go ahead and do full runs. Right, so that'll be that LED tray, and you'll run all your power through. As far as power goes, even though this thing seems kind of small, when I kind of laid it out for LEDs, we might be looking at possibly 2 power supplies. So if we need to do 2 runs, then take a GE 180. I think there's already one that's like this, and you go ahead and just modify it to get rid of the power box on the one end, because it has like a little extra box where, you know, for attic or something. So you can go ahead and just tin snip that off, and then it will fit in about the same size as the GE 100. So you just have to drill some holes and make it work. But should you have to do 2 sides with all these LEDs, just see if that works or not for you for getting that handled. So once these are all together, we also have the 2x2 bar. So you've got a 100-inch 2x. This will be your lift points. So you'll go ahead and skewer this all the way through. Just have some hanging out this side, have this hanging out this side. You go ahead and tack it in. You can see where it goes through all of these holes. That will be your lift point, and then that will also create a little spot to put this custom white on white. So go ahead and bend these up, and you will just rivet these together, no lords, and then this thing will sit, as you can see, it'll sit on the bar. So you'll just drop it in from the top, and no tools necessary, just make sure it's lined up, and that'll be your LEDs for the logos here. These are just backed up plex. This is backed up plex. This is the only part that's pushed through. So, and then these big openings here that you'll have, that you see here, this is how you're going to be bringing in your LED tray. So you can bring the white once this thing's all done. You're going to be coming in through the back, sliding it through, and then using your top access to just sort of get it lined up and kind of reach in there and kind of shoot for the screws there. You'll have access to come in through this way to do push throughs here or whatever you need to do. And for install, you'll have access through here to get to these bolts, and then you'll have access through the back to get to these bolts. So you should have plenty of room back here to reach in and hit those back bolts. So that's your access for install. Quick note for first shop, the logo, I don't know how they're laying it out, but the opening is here in the purple for that for the colored logo here. So if you need help kind of as a way to line it up, this is going to be scribed onto the plex. This is a 1/2 inch bigger than the opening. So if you take your logo, and if the logo is cut or whatever to the size of the opening, this will help you lay it out and kind of get it centered up so you know that it looks sexy. So look for that. That's going to be coming at you. That'll be scribed onto the plex for you, and that'll match the actual opening in the metal. So that's that. Let's see. Oh yeah, real quick, just a quick little code here. I got 2 notches for everything for the middle, for the mid box here. Look for 2 notches in all of them, and look for 1 notch in any of the jigs that belong to the main frame. I did keep these the same. So any of the middle braces that do like middle parts there, those are all the same. Those are universal for either box. But the corner jigs, look for 1 notch for the main, look for 2 notches for the middle box. I think that should be it. It's a lot going on. So again, if I miss something or if something seems confusing or whatever, hit me up because this was confusing. But yeah, I think that's it. So yeah, hit me up if you have any questions.